Hey, Upper East Siders. Hello, sunshine. It's Rachel. It's me. So in today's video, I'm just gonna tell you all of my opinions about Gossip Girl. That's the plan. Just go down the list, rant about it, give you my whole opinion. I will say I'll probably forget some things, but I did take notes. A little notepad with front and back, and then almost a whole other page. So let's see where this goes. Before I get into my opinions, I am gonna give a spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the ending, don't watch this. I feel like my first section should be like about the characters, like just going through character development, but that's actually my second category, because the thing that I'm the most passionate about is the relationships, and the fact that so many of them are just inappropriate or like bad in one way or another. Before we get too far, I do think I should say that I genuinely love Gossip Girl. So I might be criticizing this, but I do love this show. Anyways, section 1, inappropriate relationships. So the first note for this is the fact that age, is a thing. It's just it's not considered in the show, like at all. I don't understand. Like, they just don't even think about it. They're just like, who cares? Almost every single character has an illegal relationship, not just like it's not good, but like an illegal relationship. To start off with Dan, who only has one as far as I know. Yeah, there's only one that I could think of or remember or find, whatever. And it's Dan and that one teacher who I don't even think they really had a full-fledged relationship, but she was a teacher and he was a student, and they didn't have an appropriate relationship. So it's pretty simple. That was pretty simple. It's a pretty messy plot line right there, but it wasn't a legal relationship. Blair, it's not really clear how old Marcus is when they date. Marcus is the like Duke who she dates for a brief period of time to make Chuck jealous, and then jumping up ahead, he also is actually cheating on her with his stepmom, who is cheating on her husband with her stepson and Nate, that messy storyline. Anyways, Marcus it's unclear, but I think they say he's in college and she is in high school. And for a few of these, I don't know what the age of consent is, but I think if you have to ask what the age of consent in New York is on whether or not the relationship is illegal, it shouldn't be happening. Should not be happening. Blair does also sleep with Jack, Uncle Jack, Chuck's uncle. That's definitely not okay. She is a child who is upset, and he is an adult taking advantage of her. Why were questions not asked? Anyways, Chuck, I don't think he ever explicitly dates someone older than him in high school, but he also, with the reputation he had / has, it's likely. Also, his relationship with Jenny, once again, we don't know the age of consent, but when they slept together, which I'm not even addressing the first episode, don't get me wrong, I will address it later, it's all bad. But I'm just going to talk about it later. I don't want to touch on that now. But when he sleeps with her, she's still in high school. She's probably like 16 or 17, and he is probably like 18 or 19, so the legality of it is a little bit iffy. So, I mean, not great. The 3 that I've already addressed of the main 5 are definitely not, well, Chuck, it's not like in the show. Like it's not like stated that he dates older people, but they're pretty easy to cover. Nate and Serena, why do they date so many people who are age inappropriate for them? Nate dated Marcus's stepmom. He also is an adult, but he dates, oh, I forget her name. Is it Diana, the Spectator lady? The lady who owns the Spectator before him. But, and like, I know he's an adult, but just like there are appropriate ages to be dating, and that isn't one. And I want to make it clear, I am putting the blame on the older people. Like, what are you doing? Not the young idiots. But he also is one of the older people when he dates Sage, who is in high school. She's 17, and she says explicitly in the show that she is of the age to give consent, but still not really okay. It's not fully okay. And then Serena just dates so many age inappropriate people. There's Aaron, Sage's dad, Ben. No, Steven. There is Ben, who is such a big issue. I'll touch on him in a minute. And then also that one con artist guy, remember him? That was ridiculous. She just does not care about age at all. And then it makes me so mad that Serena dates Ben, because technically he didn't really do anything wrong back when she was in boarding school. I will say it doesn't seem like an appropriate relationship to be having with a student, for you to be going out of town with just one student, or meeting up for coffee with just one student. Like, it all just seems like an inappropriate relationship. Like, I think it's okay for teachers to have a good relationship with their students, obviously, but there's a line, and I feel like he crossed it. But it wasn't an illegal at that time. However, he was in jail, and he decided to just fully ruin Serena's life. He, from jail, was like, I'm going to destroy her. And then just because he had a reason, everyone was like, oh, it's fine, makes sense that you guys would date. No, I'm not following the plot. I don't understand what you're doing. Stop it, Serena. Like, don't give him listen, maybe he probably shouldn't have been in jail. He should not have been in jail. Maybe fired, but not in jail. But you don't have to give him a second chance at a relationship. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't support it. Don't support it. Another point is, how old is Ivy? Like, they never really clarify how old she is, and she definitely has some sort of relationship with, I think it's Nate or Dan, maybe both, and then she has a relationship with both Rufus and William Vanderwoodson, Serena's dad. That's what? How old are you? Which age group are you trying to date? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I guess another point is the fact with Steven, the man that Serena almost gets engaged to, he also is dating Serena, and also he slept with her mom at some point. So I don't know. And here's the thing. I don't know. I don't want to judge people who are I don't want to place judgment upon large age gaps. However, when some of the characters are so young, it just doesn't seem good. It's unhealthy. It's not necessarily that like you shouldn't date someone if there's an age gap. It's that if you're 17, you should be dating teenagers. Like, you're at about the same emotional capacity. As soon as like you're young and the person is older and they're trying to get into a relationship with you, I'm like, oh, that old person, not a good choice, doesn't look good. Which leads into my next subcategory, which is manipulation does not equal romance. In Gossip Girl, it seems to equal romance a lot, but it doesn't really. Like, just everybody. Yeah, I think like everybody to a certain extent like does the manipulation thing. Like, if you think about Juliet like trying to date Nate, like they say that she eventually like gets real feelings for him, but at the same time everything she does is manipulative. Like, she at no point in their relationship is not manipulating Nate in one way or another. Like, you can care about somebody, but if you're manipulating them, that's not a good relationship. You know, don't do it. That's also part of the reason why like I was saying, the older people that they date, some of them are like, okay, like Steven, I think it seems like a good person. I don't think that he really manipulates Serena like that much. However, so many of the other like older people in the relation, when there's two in the relationship, are manipulating the younger people. Like, both of the ladies, the elder, they're not elders. Both of the like older women that Nate dates, Marcus's stepmom and the Spectator lady, both are definitely manipulating him. They're strongly manipulating him. And who else? Jack was definitely manipulating Blair when they slept together. Yeah, it just doesn't, like, all of it doesn't seem, it's not good. It's bad. And I don't think they're necessarily trying to make all of the relationships seem perfect, but they definitely are with some where manipulation is used kind of as like romance. Like, I care so much about this person, I'm willing to do anything. And it's like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want you to have morals. But also, like, you can see it a lot in the two main relationships in the show. Blair and Chuck, oh, they manipulate each other so much. I'm not saying I think that they don't belong together, because I kind of do. I just think a lot of things about their relationship and their characters, which I'll touch on later, were like mishandled. And I think if they just like changed a few things, it would be a much better representation of like a healthy relationship. Maybe not really healthy, because there's nothing healthy about anything in Gossip Girl, but like a better relationship. They just like both manipulate each other all the time. They like threaten each other. It's a really like honestly like toxic and abusive relationship. It is so good when you watch the show, but like it's not good for real life. Like, it's not goals. It's not aesthetically maybe, but you should not be trying to be like Chuck and Blair, because they manipulate each other. And then with Serena and Dan, I have a lot of things to say about Serena's character, but she definitely manipulates him to a certain extent throughout the show. But the biggest manipulation is, once again, spoiler alert, Dan being Gossip Girl. That's the most, becomes Gossip Girl with the goal of getting with Serena. And that is, first of all, very stalkery. And second of all, so manipulative. Like, so insanely manipulative. I do have a lot more to say about this, but it's not about the romance part of it, so we're gonna we're gonna put a little pause on that conversation. The last subset of this is not necessarily relationships in a romantic sense. It's more familial, so like family. But the adults need to calm down. They need to calm down. I think the healthiest relationship in the show is Eleanor, Blair's mom, and I forget his name, but they're her second husband, so Blair's stepdad. I think they have the healthiest like romantic relationship in the show. I think Rufus and Lily, they have so much potential. I think that they really were a great relationship, and they were also, you didn't see a ton of Eleanor and her second husband, but like with Rufus and Lily, you saw a bunch of them, and like it seemed like a pretty realistic and like healthy-ish relationship. And they like had issues and they didn't agree and they had to work it out, and then they were just like, we don't need this. I think it should have been end game, but it is what it is. Uncle Jack should be in jail, just a period. When it comes to all of the adults as parents, I mean, Nate's dad has character development as a father, and he's a pretty good dad by the end. He's like pretty good, but he's a terrible dad in the beginning. His mom just basically stops existing. She was not a great mom, but she tried, but you can try and still be bad. So Nate just like inconsequential. So are like half of the parents. I feel like every character gets one parent that matters. And Bart is the worst. He needs to do less. But I mean, I understand why he was necessary, because throughout the show, they like made Chuck such a terrible person, and they just repetitively never helped him become a better person. And so then they were like, well, we want Chuck to be a good person at the end, so then you have to have Bart there to be a worse person, so then you root for Chuck. I have a lot to say about Chuck. We have to move on to the character development section. We're still in relationships. But Bart, he just needs to not exist. But he does, and he serves his role as a terrifying human. Rufus is interesting because he's definitely like put in the light of he's a good parent, but like I just don't think he is. I don't think he is. I think Rufus tries, but he also seems to care more about image. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I get bad vibes from Rufus is the end of the story. I get bad vibes from Rufus. He is not the worst parent, but he's not the best. Eleanor, okay. Eleanor cannot decide if she is a good mom or if she is an emotionally abusive nightmare. I will say that I think for the most part, Eleanor has like character development. It's not just like she like bounces back and forth. It is more like she is dealing with stuff, and so then she takes it out on Blair in the beginning, and then she starts dealing with her own stuff, and then she stops taking it out on Blair, but then every once in a while she says things, and I'm like, why would you say that to your daughter? And like throughout the first like season and a half, I'm gonna say, she like makes all these comments about Blair's weight, but Blair has an eating disorder, and I'm like, why? And it's clear that she cares about the fact that Blair has an eating disorder. So why would you say that is the thing. And then she also like doesn't fully accept her daughter as she is and like all this stuff. Anyways, but she is ultimately probably one of the better parents, which is saying something because she is emotionally abusive. The fact that an emotionally abusive parent is probably on the upper end of the parents in this show isn't a good sign. Okay, so last, we're gonna touch on Lily. Lily is simultaneously the worst and the best parent on the show, in my opinion. She is probably a medium parent for Eric. I don't really know. She does care a lot about Image, but how much she cares about Image doesn't really affect Eric beyond the first season, you know? Like, she doesn't care that he's gay, like, because she doesn't see that as bad image. So there's that. But for Serena, she's just not a good parent. She vacillates wildly between being so loosey-goosey and not caring and so strict with Serena. Like, I think it's part of why Serena's character is the way she is, which, once again, I'm gonna get into character development, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, I think that's part of the reason, because her mom just, like, you never know if her mom is gonna, like, be really strict with her or literally just basically not care what she's doing. Like, there's not a ton of in between. There's a little bit of in between, but not a ton. However, I think Lily and Chuck's relationship is one of the best, like, parental and child relationships. I do think, well, because she adopted him when he was, like 17, so they definitely don't have a classic, like, mother-son relationship. It's clear that they care about each other. And, like, throughout the show, you get the feeling that they choose each other as family, like, repeatedly. They choose to be in each other's lives as mother and son, and that is a really big thing. And then, like, even though, because she came into his life so late, she, like, it's not the same as with Serena, where she, like, goes back and forth between a ton of rules and no rules, because she didn't raise him. She came into his life to be the support he needed as an adult, and she is not really in a position to create rules or punish him or anything like that, so she doesn't vacillate wildly between the two. She kind of finds a nice middle ground where she, like, gives him guidance, but also he became an adult very shortly after she adopted him, and so he can make his own decisions. And it's something that if she had found that with Serena, I think it would have been good for their relationship. It's not a real relationship. I gotta remember that. I'm talking like these are real people. They're not. It's fake. The guy who plays Chuck isn't even American. And she doesn't have to be. I said that like it's a good thing to be American. So that's what I have to say about the relationships.
Hello, it is Editing Rachel. I originally planned for this video to just be one part and have like a super long video, but I've changed my mind. So I'm gonna split it here because it's a good, point to stop at. And I will be doing a part 2 with the rest of the video because I still have a lot to say.
I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time I post a new video, go ahead and ring the notification bell. I'll have links to my social media down in my description below. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Peace, love, and buttercups. Boop.
Editing Rachel. Whatever. I'm wearing a wrist brace because I woke up with mysterious pain in my wrist 5 days ago-ish. And now I'm wearing a super fun wrist brace, and I talk with my hands, so it's not like you're not gonna notice it. Anyways, that's fun.